today we'll be talking about
OMG.
So OMG is One Marina Gardens, not oh my god.
Correct.
Okay, so because we'll be referencing OMG a lot. By the way, this is again my Telegram channel. Please actually scan the QR code to actually get more updates on property information and also OMG information. Come, let's go.
Yes, let's go. So again, it is Twin Tower.
We are the Twin Tower sisters.
Yeah, so basically two towers again, one 30-story of residential, but 31-story because there is actually a roof garden. And then the other one is 44-story, but top floor is actually 45-story. So this is actually the impression of how it actually looks like. So moving forward, okay, so basically OMG is actually right over here. You can see a piece of like green land right over here, but rest assured that we are changing it into a new township. So we are actually the first plot out of 16 plot in the Marina South area, not Bay, Marina South area. So there's going to be more residential coming up in this area, white plots coming up in this area. So the whole place will be more bustling, of course, in the future.
In the future, correct.
Yes, and one thing to highlight, I think, about OMG is some unit stacks that we'll discuss later actually faces the Gardens by the Bay. That's why you actually get this kind of view.
It's quite unique actually.
Definitely unique one.
So it's developed by Kingsford. So actually Kingsford, I think one of the better known projects is Chuan Park.
Yeah, the recent one.
Yeah, so they are also developed Normanton Park, Kingsford Water Bay, Hillview Park, and the Hill at One North.
Hillview Peak, yeah, and Hill at One North. And I think the latest one, like what you mentioned, Chuan Park is the most popular one.
Blockbuster.
Yes, at Lorong Chan MRT, connected very closely
very
too,
closely,
right?
correct.
Ours also Marina South MRT.
Yep.
The only one that is connected, which we'll go through later.
In a bit, yeah.
Okay, so preview date next Saturday, 29 March.
It's very soon. Booking is on the 12th of April. So faster book your slots. Be nice, Tiger. Come, let's go.
Yes, let's go. So I will know this area pretty well. Okay, so basically the unit type is 1 bedder all the way to 4 bedder, which we'll explain shortly. But a good thing is we actually have the indicative price ready. 1 bedder type only starting from 1.16.
Which is like 1 bedders even in like other projects like 1.3, 1.4.
I wanted to say area, but I think better not. But
better
OCR areas.
Other
areas already 1.3. And in terms of rental area, which we'll touch a little bit more on that later. 2 bedder starting only from 1.8, 3 bedder 2.45, 4 bedder 4.45. I
think this is the pricing that got a lot of people very excited.
Yes. Actually, a lot of my clients say they receive a lot of text and information from a lot of property agents. So I think we are all very excited to share with you on this coming project. Okay, so One Marina Garden, number one most important thing, District 1. How many people can stay? They stay at District 1.
Really?
And
other than foreigners lah.
Okay, yeah, maybe the tenants that one different. But owning a District 1 property by Kingsford again, 937 unit with 4 commercial, 3 shops, 1 restaurant, and also 1 childcare right at the project itself. Okay, and then there will be 445 car park lots and 24 motorcycle lots.
Yeah, so the car park is around 50%. But anyway, we are so close to the MRT, right?
Yes, so basically, I think government also trying to take in measures to convert certain area into more like car-like district and things like that, cutting down on all the carbon dioxide and things like that lah.
And COE.
Okay, and also like what you mentioned earlier on, it's basically connected directly to Marina South MRT, which we will show you shortly. TOP April 30th, 2029. Correct. So next up,
so we're not exactly in the Marina Bay area, we're in the Marina South area. So just now, like Rina mentioned, we're first out of the 16 plots. And right next to us, right, if you can see, there's the Marina Gardens Crescent that is already on the maps, right? But actually it's not successfully bidded yet. So that is TBC.
Correct. And honestly, we are like the first one that is connected to the MRT. You can see over here is exit 4 lah. This is Marina Gardens Crescent, right? This one is actually a white plot. So we will explain a little bit more on white plot shortly. But do note that this site mainly is on white plot and this site is actually mixed development. So there will be a lot of things coming into this area.
Yes.
Okay. So again, this is the location map. So what we are near Gardens by the Bay, we are near MBS, we are near, of course, all the attractions like Singapore Flyers and things like that. Literally within 10 minutes, you are able to reach all these kind of places. Okay, so I think that is one of the highlight of this place. Now, connectivity.
So we are basically, just now you said Marina South. So Marina South is a Thomson East Coast line.
Correct.
So this Thomson East Coast line, right, actually connects you to almost all the lines, almost, right?
Correct.
You have the green line, which is the Raffles Place. Red line, which is the
Marina Bay, Orchard area.
Marina Bay Orchard area.
Correct, Novena.
The purple line, Ocean Park.
Then the other one is the Circle Line, also
Circle Line.
Marina Bay area, and also Bayfront Downtown Line. Basically,
All
it's
the bay,
connected to all the line, except
All
maybe
the
Cross
bay.
Island Line. Cross Island Line
Not
not
out
even
yet,
ready.
not out yet.
Correct. So it's very, very attractive because if you were to go on the left side, right, you go into all your east side area, which is the Marine Parade, Sea Club, East Coast Park, that sort of area, Tanjong Ru. And if you go to the left side, you go to another Great World City, Outram Park, all the way even to Woodlands. So I have colleagues that told me, hey, actually very convenient. Next time I want to go JB, I just go all the way. One
Actually,
line.
this Thomson East Coast line really cuts across the whole island.
Correct. True. And one more thing to highlight is over here you can see, right, the Marina South, actually the station itself is already there.
Built,
done.
station is built.
Correct, but it's not in
operation
yet until TOP. Okay? So views-wise, okay, frankly speaking, we are not going to say that for this project we'll be selling views. Honestly, some units you do get very good view, unblocked view forever sort of thing. But the other side, actually, there will be newer developments coming up.
Correct.
So you might get a far view, but at the end of the day, if you're outside facing, sometimes you will still be facing another development.
So we're not like buying in because of the views lah. There's
Correct.
only like 2 or 3 stacks that really has this view.
Correct. But government also quite smart. For example, one here 40 over story, one here 30 story. Maybe the next plot will be like slightly lower, 30 story, and then this side maybe a little bit higher.
Or maybe the developer also smart, they'll put slanted.
Yeah, so we don't exactly know this right now,
Yeah.
but usually developers are quite smart with that. So usually most of the time, if you buy a certain level, most of the time you will clear a good far view.
Yeah.
So again, this project, we are not really just selling on the view itself. Of course, right now, if you buy your first plot, you do get the view, but after a while, then when there are more plots in front, then kind of cover up.
Correct.
So next, we'll talk about the transformation in this area. I think just now we mentioned already, we are actually the first plot that is over here.
Correct.
This whole area will be converted into a new township. Right opposite, you also get all this kind of white plots that is empty right now.
Right.
Okay, so there's actually more things coming in. We are going to become a 10 minutes neighborhood.
Okay.
And 10 minutes neighborhood meaning to say that there will be supermarket, food court, childcare center, bakeries, clinic, hair salon, and things like that coming.
Self-sustainable area lah.
Correct. Actually, I will feel that this area is very similar to, I don't know, maybe like Tanjong Pagar or Tanjong Pagar or Tiong Bahru area where it's like a bit neighborhood, not so much on just malls, right? Yeah, so I think this is something to look forward to, especially if you are own stay buyer buying into this area.
And also we were mentioning, right, like because of these 16 plots, it will not be so soon. It's like Lentor, right? There's like 6-7 plots. It took like about 3 years.
Correct.
So this is something that is of a long haul, long term.
Correct. So next we'll be going to the site map. Okay, site map, before we go into it, when you're looking at this, right, I think it's very interesting to know that actually this project got landscape. Meaning to say first level, at least you got a 50-meter lap pool, you got a family pool, you got a kids pool.
Yeah, because
right?
usually the projects around this area is usually sky something, sky garden, sky pool.
Because the land itself is so, scarce over this area, right? So usually developer will build one tall building and then all the facilities are 24 story, 37
the first level
story.
is just your like
concierge or like guard house.
Yeah.
So actually I have clients that are staying in Marina Bay area. They told me, hey, wow, this one very impressive because actually you get the pool on the first
like a
level.
normal condo feeling.
Like a normal condo. So another thing to highlight is, for example, block 5, I would think that it's a little bit more premium because you see this stack 19, 18, 17, right? These are all facing Gardens by the Bay, which is over here, right? So you actually get a very full, nice garden by the park, by the Bay view.
Gardens by the Bay view.
I changed the name of it. So over here you can see this is actually a connected bus stop. This is a connected taxi stand. Right below here is actually where you will be getting
connected
the Marina.
to the MRT, right?
Correct, exit 4. And then of course your main entrance will be here, which is a small road right now.
Yeah.
So this one will be a bit more of a premium block because technically speaking, you have a very good facing. And this one, you have other facility at level 14 and also level 34 and also level 45. So level 14, you will get things like, sky lounge, reading lounge, family lounge, cabana, sky dining, this kind of like
so they
basic
integrate
stuff.
the both like the normal condo plus all the sky stuff.
Correct. And then after that, level 4, you actually get an outdoor gym. You get all the different gardens, the corner, yoga terraces and all. But level 45, you get the main gym, which is the sky gym and the sky lounge and a viewing deck. So it's all happening at block 5. Having said that, block 3 not too bad because block 3 higher story is 30th. On the 31st story, they actually have a sky garden which with featuring 2 function room, dining lounges and a sky viewing pod.
Yeah.
Okay. On top of these 2 function room, actually there are another 3 function room in this area itself. So you have 3 function room, kids room,
more
games
than
room,
enough.
actually a lot of different rooms. The only thing that I gotta say, and this project don't have, is tennis court. That's about it.
Okay.
Everything else they have
Fair
it.
point.
Okay. So next,
Site design.
Site design. So like what we mentioned earlier, if you want to know exactly at which level, what facilities or amenities you have there, right?
You can do a screenshot over here.
Correct. And then for distribution, again, the prime block, which is block 5, right? You have 13 units per level.
Yep.
And then the other one, you have 14 units per level. In fact, actually, every single block, you have 1 bedder all the way to 3 bedder, but only this block
Only
got
the 4 bedder, yeah.
Okay.
So for unit distribution, about 70% is 1 and 2 bedrooms. But of course, the majority is still 2 bedrooms.
Correct.
So once we're entering the Marina Bay area, we are going to do our analysis slightly different from what we have been doing all the while we focus more on layouts. Why we focus more on layouts? Because in the outskirt regions where mass market is, livability is more important for families and stuff like that. You're not only for yourself and for your future resale buyers. So layouts are extremely important. I'm not saying that layouts are not important here. It's just that
go through.
It's just that it takes a back seat lah.
Yeah, you take a back seat because I think over here, Marina area, a lot of people, we will be focusing more on rental yield.
Yep.
Okay, so now we go into 1 bedder analysis. 1 bedder, we actually have a few types. We have all the way 420 square feet, we have 431 square feet, and we have one special one that is 452 square feet. So in terms of layout, I won't go through so much, like what we mentioned earlier. Just take note that some of them, they are actually pool facing. You have some that is exterior or outside facing. But actually the difference, honestly, only the DB box positioning and also some of the, exterior wall, they actually have an extended wall, and things like that.
For the facade lah.
Correct.
So there are total 8 stacks of 1 bedroom.
1 bedroom, very much similar. So you have 431 and also 420 lah over here.
For the 452, we didn't list it inside here is because there's only 1 unit, level 2.
Correct, level 2. So we are not going to say too much into it. So in terms of floor plan, if you are interested, just take a screen grab or you can get the material from us. So without further ado, let's go into the 1 bedder rental in this area itself.
Yeah, so we also are not going to go into our top choice like our previous videos because like we said, we are not basing this on layout last. And rental is the most important thing here in the Marina area, so we'll talk about rental.
Correct. Actually, I got some people leaving comments saying that, we should give a summary, of what we like and all. We will still give you a summary, but this time round, not just based on layout, but it's based on the rental yield itself.
Correct.
And what is the safe price to enter, which we will touch on shortly.
That's more important.
So for 1 bedder rental, right, of course, we take a comparison of nearby area.
Yeah.
So we'll be looking at Tanjong Pagar area and Marina Bay area. So first, let's look at Tanjong Pagar 1 bedroom rental. We'll be taking a few projects here for comparison. 3 of them are actually Icon, Altes, Sky Suite and Anson, which are very close to Tanjong Pagar MRT.
They are also considered like a CBD, just a little bit more fringe, right?
Correct.
So for Icon, right, we actually noticed that they have around 500, 600 square feet, 600, 700 square feet, 700, 800 square feet. So there are 3 different types of 1 bedroom unit.
Correct.
Right. So for the 500 to 600 square feet, we realized that the rental PSF is actually about $7.45.
Correct.
And for the 600 to 700 range is about $7. 700 to 800 range is about $6.80. So what we realize here, right, is just like purchase, right?
Correct.
The bigger your unit,
the lower
the PSF.
So there is this trend.
Same goes for rental, right? So we're actually gonna check whether this trend also is the same for the other condos in Tanjong Pagar.
Correct. So before we go on to the next page, just to highlight on this is actually how we get all this average PSF is actually we look at the recent transaction in January, and this is the breakdown. So other than Icon, next will be Altes. So Altes will have a bit more variety. We have the 500 to 600, 600, 700, 700 to 800, 800 to 900 square feet type. Where we do our math and the research, right, we also find out that the smaller the unit type, actually the higher the rental PSF,
which is in line with what Icon was lah.
Correct. And then now again we look at Sky Suite. Sky Suite is a bit different because their 1 bedder is very small.
Yeah.
It's 300 to 400 square feet. In fact, smaller than OMG one. Right? So we also can see that now their average rental PSF is much higher.
$9.
9.8, close to 10 already.
Yeah.
All right. And so that means that we have a trend here already, ma.
The smaller the size, the higher the rental PSF.
Correct. So now let's look at Marina area. Since we talk about Tanjong Pagar area, we look at Marina area. So one, we'll be looking at the Robinson Suites, which is over here. We'll be looking at the Sail, which is actually over here. Looking at the MBR, Marina Bay Residences. Okay, so first,
so for Robinson Suites, same, they have 400 to 500 and 500 to 600. Basically, if you take a look, the tenants here, right, they are all hovering around the same
7,
price point.
8, 9.
Yeah,
that
so
sort of thing.
that is the accepted rental in this area. So again, the smaller unit is 840, the larger unit is $7 PSF. We go on to the Sail and Marina Bay residence. You can also still see the same pattern. The Sail 5 to 600 square feet, we have $8 per square foot.
Which is
and
higher.
6 to 700 square feet is about $7.73, slightly lower.
Correct. So over here, we have been talking about the rental PSF, not Sail PSF.
Rental PSF, correct.
Okay, so now we go into a summary. So basically, we combine earlier on. Actually, if you missed out any other pages beforehand, it's okay. This is
it's
the
here.
more important page. Yes. So we have the Sky Suites, Icon, Altez, Robinson, the Sail and Marina, all in this chart over here, spreading from 300 square feet all the way to 900 square feet.
Correct.
So the trend here, remember, the smaller the unit, the higher the rental PSF, which we will apply very shortly in our slides coming up.
So you can see like 3 to 400 is $9 plus. Then all the way you go larger, then you see it's like 876. So you can see very, very clearly in this table.
Okay, so next we'll be using this, whatever that we just shared, to identify what is actually a safer entry price for you. Okay, now let's look at this Marina Bay rental yield. So basically we look at the sale. Okay, 600 to 700 square feet. Average purchase price right now based on February and January this year.
The recent transactions.
Correct. The average is at 1.284, so 1.284 mil. And then for the rental wise, we are using a 24 transaction as a comparison in January. You're looking at an average of 4,510. With this two figure, that is how we actually get an average rental yield of 4.2% at the sale.
Yeah.
Right? Similarly now,
we use Marina One residence, which is slightly bigger in size as compared to the Sail, and they are also having a more expensive average purchase price of 1.6 million.
because they are bigger.
However, at the end of the day, right, one bedder is one bedder lah.
Yeah.
Like you have extra space here and there, but it's still a one bedder, right?
You still only have one room lah.
So even if you have a much larger unit, right, you can only fetch probably about $500 more.
Maybe similar kind of pricing range. Like over here, you can see it's about
It won't
400
differ
more.
too much lah,
Correct.
rather. So that's why in terms of Marina One residents, right, their purchase price is higher.
Correct.
And the average rental is
Not too much
not
higher.
too much of a difference.
Cannot be you rent 8,000 ma, right? Just because your size bigger.
So that's why the rental yield here that we actually calculated is actually 3.7%.
Slightly lower.
Slightly
lah.
lower.
Okay. So based on this, right, actually the previous information that we just shared actually explained a lot why MOR, right, for some units here, they are actually making a loss because the size is so much bigger, right? So the quantum will definitely be higher one. And then because the quantum is higher, to hit this average PSF, just now we mentioned it's about 4.2 to about 3.8. So let's say 4%, your average PSF, right? In order to reach this average rental PSF, either there's two ways. Either you sell cheaper or you rent higher. But seriously, how much more can you rent? You cannot be suddenly rent until 8,000 or 7,000 just to hit the average rental yield ma.
Yeah, so why is it important to actually adjust this rental yield or purchase price is because people who want to buy into this area, especially resale buyers, they are still investors.
Correct.
They are very numbers driven. They still want that 4.2%.
Correct.
So in order to maintain that 4.2%, like you said, it's either we increase the rental by a lot,
or
lower your sale price.
Correct.
Right. So in this case where for Marina One residents, we are trying to address why these properties actually don't make money.
Some of them.
This is just one of the examples.
Correct.
So basically what we're trying to drive at here, right, is that it's very, very important to actually enter at the right size.
Right size, very important.
Right price.
And
for
right
you to get the correct yield
rental
that
yield.
people will actually take over this unit from
Correct.
you.
This is actually a very important concept to grasp, especially we will be going through the same for two-bedder as well.
Yeah.
So I think one good thing about OMG, it's the size itself. Yeah, because we are not overly big. We are actually
Not
just
overly
nice.
small also.
Yeah, we are not overly, not the 300 square feet also. So
Yeah.
it's still livable, but I think it's a very good size to achieve the yield that we want, rental yield that we want.
Correct.
These slides, right, are basically to address some possible concern now why, like for example, MOR or some project in this area making a loss because of rental yield ma. Because most of the investors or resale investors, right, they are very savvy enough to look at this yield one. So let's look at an example. Marina One Residences, this is Stack 4.
Yeah, so basically this owner, right, he bought in at 2014. He bought at 1.733 million. At the point of 2,400 PSF, it's actually
Wow,
today's pricing,
super
right?
high, super
it's
high.
kind of today's pricing,
Correct,
right?
today's pricing.
Yeah. So
Wait, means what, you know or not? It means wrong price. Okay,
I mean, that's not I say one, but
Okay,
you
okay.
kind of get the hint.
Yes.
Huh? Yeah, so just now we actually mentioned that the rental here in this area is actually about 5,000 plus.
Correct.
Actually 6,000. 6,000, right? So for rental 5 to 6,000, the yield for this unit that this owner bought in is actually 3.46.
3.46 because Marina
3.46%,
one slightly bigger. That's why the rental is usually 555. Sometimes even hit 6,000.
Correct. So for this owner, right, in order to hit this average rental yield that people are actually willing to accept in this area of 4.2%, they need to increase the rental, mah.
Either they increase or they lower the sale price.
But if let's say today they rent at 5,000, would any tenant be willing to rent at 7,000 just because this owner wants to increase the rental yield?
No,
right? So the only way to actually get this property moving to the next buyer is that you maintain this 4%. This 5,000 you cannot change, ma. He lower his sale price, which was what happened, right? He's actually sold this unit at 1.452.
correct, which is a loss of 281,000. The whole reason of him selling a loss is because they are the next buyer that come in, they are not able to achieve this kind of rental yield.
Because if it doesn't really matter how nice your house is, if the rental yield is not there, I'm not going to take this house.
Correct. To reiterate the point, it is to enter at the right size, right price, and then possibly achieve the right yield.
Correct. So when we talk about safe entry price, what is the right price to enter? This is what we have actually put out.
So for example, first step, right, we know that an average rental yield in Marina area is around 4.2%. That is based on our calculation earlier. So let's take a trend that what we say, the smaller the unit type actually comes with a higher rental yield. So earlier on, I think the smaller bidder will be Sky Suites. They are around the $9 to $10 PSF. So we are using the $10 PSF as a guide.
Yeah.
So with $10 rental PSF at a 420 square feet one bedder size, you are looking at a rent 4,002.
Yeah.
Frankly speaking, is super conservative because most of the rental there sometimes even reach the 5 or the high 5 range already. So let's just look at $4,200 rental per month. To hit this 4.2%, right, the suggested purchase price is around $1.2 million. So right now, if we spend more, okay, let's say some of the units may be a bit more expensive, like $1.3 million.
You have to buffer for the rest.
Yeah, we have to buffer.
Because it's a high tower also.
Exactly. So if let's say we are buying a place at $1.3 million, to get this 4.2%, the only thing is rental go up,
Correct.
right? At
Which is about 4,006 lah. Yeah.
So actually 4,620, right, is still very doable and realistic because like what I mentioned, some marina places are already going 5,500, 5,500 or something. So now let's look at 1.45. So 1.45, if we are to buy in at 1.45, you will be looking to rent at 5,040, still doable.
Which is still doable because some of the units at Marina 1, right, it's actually going at 5,900 even.
Correct. But meaning to say all these people that are buying at 1,002, 1,003, next time they can actually sell at 1.45, right? Because people will still be able to get this kind of rental yield at this kind of rental price.
Correct.
However, if you are buying at 1.45, next time, of course, you want to make some capital gains. So the higher you buffer yourself, then of course, next time the rental will need to go up to achieve this kind of rental yield. So it will be a bit tougher to sell in the future.
Yeah.
So from this, right, what we can sum up is that the safer entry price, it is to buy slightly below 1.45 if you can. Doesn't mean that 1.45 you cannot buy. It's just that the risk you take will be a bit higher.
Correct.
Because your next buyer coming in, they also know they have to compromise on their rental yield.
Correct. So for one bedder, our summary is we don't exactly have a top choice for layouts. One bedders are one bedders. But for the safe entry price for you to go in, will be below 1.45 million.
Correct. So having said that, 1.45 doesn't mean cannot buy. It's just that, of course, we have to do a bit of risk. Recommended top choice okay? Okay, now we go into two-bedder analysis.
So for two bedders, our focus is still again on rental yield. Okay,
correct.
So for two bedders, we have put out here 5 different layouts. So they do not have 2-bed 1 bath. They only have 2-bed 2 bath, which is good lah, right?
Correct. So basically, it ranges from 646 square feet all the way to there will be bigger size like 700 plus square feet for the 2-bed plus bomb shelter. But for the two-bedder,
normal 2-bedder.
Correct. So for example, this one will be 646 square feet. Do note that for this layout, it's actually an open kitchenette lah. So the 667 one, right, you actually have a tuck-in kitchen. This one would be for the show flat unit. When you go to show flat, you will be seeing looking at this unit. And good thing is they actually have back support for your dining space. This one you don't really have lah. For 657, I think this one is very interesting because size small, quantum maybe lower, but they do have an additional study corner. This is not exactly a study room, but I call it as a study corner. Okay, so we actually have another one which is 2BR5, but again, it's not included here because there is only one
Level
unit
2.
of that, which is at 0226 lah. Okay, so for 657 square feet unit, this one is actually the only traditional layout in the whole development. So you can see
it's still
over
open
here.
concept kitchen.
Alright, it's still open concept kitchen. Okay, so basically for 646, 2BR6, very similar to 2BR1. Basically, they are almost identical. They are the one that comes with a kitchenette.
Yep.
Okay, then next we'll be looking at 2-bed plus study analysis. So we'll be going through all the layout first before we go into the rental.
Yeah, so
Okay.
2-bed plus study is definitely a more premium stack in my opinion because
Over
it's the
here.
only one that has the Gardens by the Bay facing. Because usually you think, right, the premium facing, usually they reserve it for the larger units, right?
Yeah.
But this one, they got the 2 plus study.
Yes, so actually I would say that a lot of people, if the price is correct, a lot of people, actually everyone will be looking at this stack lah.
correct.
If let's say they want to buy in 2-bedder for own stay, maybe maybe rental first, eventually for own stay and
Yeah.
all, a lot of people will be attracted by this.
So having a nicer view doesn't mean that you get more rental. It's
Correct.
just that you get rented out first.
You get more demand coming into view.
You just get rented out first as
but
compared to the rest.
imagine your pool view, for example, rental is calling at 5,000. My my Gardens by the Bay view, if I am asking for a 6.5, I think the tenant will be like, "Are you crazy? Asking $1,500 more just for the view?"
I will
No
just
lah.
go upstairs and then I'll see myself.
Yeah. So you get the gist, right? So for this unit also, it comes with a study room. But again, I feel that this study area is more like a study corner also. And this kitchenette area is actually open kitchen, not so much on the enclosed one. Now to the 2-bed plus home shelter analysis.
They have to split it up their way, home shelter and non-home shelter.
Yeah, correct. One is study room, different.
Okay.
So for the one with home shelter, there are actually 6 layouts in total. For this one, you can see that the storeroom is actually right outside at the foyer area. You have an enclosable kitchen. For the 732 square feet, which is slightly bigger, you have a bigger enclosable kitchen area. You have also a proper dining area that has a backing to it. And then for the 689, which is the smaller type for home shelter, you can see that the bomb shelter is actually connected behind the kitchen area. Pretty much the rest is all dumbbell layout lah. It's the same. Okay, and then all the rest also dumbbell layout. So for this 732 is pretty much similar to the previous 732 that we mentioned. This 710 is very similar to the 600 plus square feet that we mentioned earlier. The storeroom is actually right behind the kitchen area. And then you have the 721, which is quite similar to the 721 that we shared earlier on. Layout pretty much the same. That's why this project we really cannot talk to you about layout. We need to go into the rental. Okay, so 2-bedder rental.
Same, we'll be looking at the same iconic tree.
Yes.
Tanjong Pagar 2-bedroom will be Icon, Altez and Sky Suites at Anson. Okay, so now we go into Icon and Altez. So what we actually realized that for Icon, for 900 to 1,000 square feet, our average rental PSF is actually $5.79. Altez, we have a little bit of special something going on here that we actually find that the average PSF is $6.86. We'll actually come to that later.
Then after that, for Sky Suite, which is slightly smaller, you can see that the average PSF is higher also, $8.42 as well.
Yeah. So we go into the summary again.
Correct. So the summary is actually the trend is still the smaller the unit, the higher the rental PSF. As you can see, more from Sky Suite, Icon, and also the sale. The only difference is actually a bit of Altez lah.
Yeah, actually for Altez, from what I remember, right, there are some 2-bedroom units are actually like the loft ones. So possible that these the increase in size for the 2 bedrooms is also inclusive of airspace. Possible.
So next we'll go into the
Safe entry
entry price guide. Okay, so first we will be looking at the sale again, 800 to 900 square feet for 2-bedder. The recent average purchase price, right, is around $1.7 million. Okay, the average rental, looking at 7 transactions in January, you are looking at 6,264. That's how we actually get a rental yield of 4.4, which is very, very high.
Yep.
Frankly speaking, actually, there was one point in time, so long as your rental yield hits above 3, it's high enough. Above 3.5 is very high. Above 4 is, wow, solid one, super good already.
So this is solid.
This is solid, definitely solid. So for Marina 1, right, we are looking at about 1,100 to 1,200 square feet. Average purchase price, $2.3 million.
Marina 1 is expensive.
Correct. But the average rental here also usually more expensive because sizes a bit bigger.
Right.
So rental yield itself, you see,
3.8.
still won't justify, still a bit lower, 3.8.
So similar to what we actually did in the one bedder section, right? We can see that the average rental yield for two bedder is actually around 4%.
Correct.
Right. So based on the rough rental PSF, we're looking at 9, 10, 11, right? So we are looking at about 5,008 all the way to 7,000, right?
Correct.
So actually this is still very, very realistic amount and also a very conservative figure that we actually plugged in here because actually some of the two bedders have already reached $7,900.
Correct. So these are actually very low prices that we are quoting.
Yeah.
So based on 5,814, okay, which is per month, in order to reach 4%, the suggested purchase price is actually around 1.76 lah, but honestly this is very low lah.
Yeah.
So if we are looking at maybe a 6,460, the average lower range of rental, then your suggested purchase price is actually around 1.9. So let's say that next time if you buy in at 1.9, right, and if you want to sell in the future at 2.15, for example, over
very
here,
doable.
To make a profit, number one, you gain capital
you still
gain.
have capital gains.
And your next buyer coming in here, they still feel safe because coming into this amount, right, to get this kind of 4% rental yield, which is super high, they just need to rent it around 7,100 thereabout.
Yeah.
But actually there are, like what we mentioned, there are units that go beyond 7,100 already.
It's just conservative figures.
Correct. Even if 4%, if you lower to maybe 3.8 or 3.7, it is still a decent, good rental yield amount.
Correct.
So that's why, having said that, right, maybe our proposal is for you to go as small size as possible, 646 square feet, and try to aim for units below $2.15 million. Okay, so that is actually the in the cut of cost, cut of price sort of thing. So now,
next for the
three
bedder. So three bedder, we have a little bit of mix already, right? So we will address some of the rental concerns, but also the three bedder premium, we will think that actually there might be some own stay buyers who are interested in this.
Yes, so three premium, maybe four bedder, bigger type, usually more for own stay, and then the smaller and dual key is for the rental.
The smallest three bedder and the dual key.
Correct. So for the normal three bedder, we actually have three different types, ranging from the smallest 904, 1012. Ranging from the smallest 904, 980 to 1012 square feet. So maybe before we go in that, we just talk a little bit about the layout lah. So for the 3BR1 1012, that's the biggest for the normal 3-bedder. So you have this curved structure, which you also can find it in the 4-bedder as well. This is actually very unique. Basically, it is window,
facade, right?
It's like a facade window, but it's like full height window. It's very, very nice. And even for 3-bedder normal ones, this one actually comes with a bomb shelter over here as well. Okay, a longer foyer. So for the 980 one, right, a lot of people are very concerned about this triangular shape. But do note that this is actually not an odd shape, because here, right, is the aircon latch and RC latch. Everything inside the house, right, is pretty much very squarish still.
Yeah.
Okay. And then for the 904, this is actually what I call the bang for buck lah, because it actually comes with a storeroom as well, which is very rare. And then after that, it actually comes with this very big curved window over here as well. And actually everything you need is there. It only doesn't come with a yard and WC. Two things to highlight over here: the common rooms, right? Half height lah, because the aircon latch is over there.
Correct.
So that's actually about it. Next, we go into the 3-bedder dual key. This one, maybe I let you all pay a bit more attention now, okay? So before we start, a lot of people, when they hear dual key, they will be like, oh shit.
They run away already.
Yeah, they run away. They're like, oh, dual key, not for me, I don't want, and things like that. But just to highlight, the dual key in the central area, right, is actually very different from dual key in the outskirts, which we'll explain in the slides that is coming up very soon. Okay,
so
but
also this dual key unit is actually in the more affordable quantum, because it's a 969 square feet.
Yes. In fact, it is smaller than the second smallest type of the normal 3-bedder.
Smaller than the second smallest type.
980, this one 969.
Okay.
So this one, the layout is the moment you come in from the foyer, you actually get, the tenant actually get this portion, which is the studio apartment. You have an open kitchenette, you have a bed, wardrobe, and you have your own private balcony. This one I just want to highlight, because some of the dual keys that I know, right, the main unit and the rental unit, they share the same balcony, no privacy.
Okay.
So this one, you have your own personal balcony, and in fact the family also got their own balcony.
Well, this one we're talking about, like, if we rent to two different rentals, it's also same lah.
Yeah, very private. In fact, your sharing wall, right, is another unit's bathroom, so they can't hear whatever that you're talking, having a meeting inside, they also cannot hear you.
Okay.
Okay, now 3-bed premium analysis. Okay, so for 3-bedder premium, there are also multiple sizes.
We reckon that these are for own stay lah.
More for own stay.
Possible.
Correct.
Right, so the three bedroom premium 1, 2, 3 lah, we'll call it 1, 2, 3 lah. The one is the second biggest. They got no dry kitchen.
Yes, no
but
dry
they actually
kitchen.
got a yard and walk-in wardrobe. Your favorite kind of walk-in wardrobe, right?
Yes, so this is a real walk-in wardrobe. This is not the tuck-in wardrobe that we always talk about.
Okay.
So this one actually has walk-in wardrobe, just don't have what's that called, the dry kitchen and wet kitchen. This is the biggest, 1238, which is in the show flat itself.
But it's also the Gardens by the Bay facing.
Definitely, yes. This one is the Gardens by the Bay facing. Okay, and then after that, you have a walk-in wardrobe as well. But this one comes with, of course, the yard and WC. This is a full package lah, basically. And then the 10661, you don't have the yard but you actually have a dry kitchen over here.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is mainly the difference.
So, but all of them have the WC and the bomb shelter lah.
Correct. All of them got WC and bomb shelter. So now 3-bedder top choice. Okay, so before we go into 3-bedder top choice, right? So let's look at dual key again. So for this dual key, right? Let's assume the price is 2810, and how we get this figure is because we already know the starting price for 3-bedder is around 2.45. So 245 divided by 904 square feet, you're looking actually at a starting PSF of about 2710. But we don't want to always get the lowest PSF to
so
count
we
for
buffer
you.
already 2,900 PSF.
Correct.
So we got the assumed purchase price of 2.8 million.
Correct.
Right?
And how we get the 10 and 9 PSF is what we shared earlier on.
So we copy and paste whatever that we actually predicted for the 1-bedroom rental and 2-bedroom rental. So we add it together. And actually with the assumed rental price 9,000, actually is very, very, very conservative.
Very
actually, we
conservative.
will think that it will be more than 10,000.
I think easily more than 2,000.
But let's just assume 9,000.
Okay, let's assume this amount. Our rental yield is still very high at 3.9% already.
Yeah.
Okay, so remember what I said earlier about a lot of people being afraid of dual key, right? So let's address it once and for all. Now that you know the figure is 3.9%. Dual key is actually okay, but maybe we can explain a little bit like why some dual keys in a condo in outskirts area, right, actually don't perform as well.
So for outskirts, we actually divide into 2 different kinds of dual key. One is the private condo dual key and one is the EC dual key.
Correct.
Right? Actually, the private condo dual key is the one that is not doing as well. Actually, EC dual key is still
Doing
okay.
quite well.
It's still okay, right? We actually took out some data, right?
Correct. So imagine today if you are a family, okay, you need a 3-bedder at least, but you also want to rent out 1 room, right?
To defray your cost for whatever
correct.
reasons.
So you will be likely looking at a 4-bedder dual key. But looking at this area, right, it's quite hard to justify because let's look at La Fiesta. La Fiesta is actually a private condo that is in Sengkang.
Opposite Sengkang MRT.
MRT, correct. You see that the 4-bedder classic, right, which is a normal 4-bedder, the purchase price or the sale price rather is actually at 1.820. But for the dual key, right, wow, in the same period of time, the sale price actually is at 2.326 million. That's
so
a
it's
whopping
about
difference.
500,000 difference, right? So if let's say this owner really wants to use this extra studio unit to actually recoup back some of their monthly installment or whatever, right? You actually take about 15 years to recover this amount.
Correct. So it's very hard for people to take it. And also most of the time, right, for buyers that are looking at this kind of maybe outskirts condo 4-bedder, right, they would more or less have this kind of budget range, but
it's
this
more
one
comfortable
is a stretch.
to be able to afford 1.8 million rather than a 2.3 million.
Correct. So now let's look at the Teoperi, which is EC that is in the Sengkang area as well. You can see that for 4-bedder dual key, right, their sale price recently is only at 1.95, very, very close to actually the normal private condo prices.
Yeah, so as long as they don't compromise their lifestyle and actually I can still rent out one
studio for rental.
Then after that, the purchase price is not too far off. It's something that they can still afford. Then, okay, they can look into this.
That's why in terms of yield, right, the AC dual key will always outperform a normal condo, and that's why more people are willing to look at a EC dual key. That's why, you know, like the private condo dual key will likely take a backseat lah.
Because it's too expensive.
It's too expensive lah. I mean, like it's 500,000 difference leh.
Yeah, but
so,
for OMG, it's actually different, right? Because this area we're actually focusing more on rental yield, not really for own stay plus rental yield. So like both segregations are both for rental, right?
Yes, and more people will look at this area because in terms of rental yield, it's actually much more attractive.
So in this marina area, this dual key suddenly becomes the most attractive in terms of all the 3-beders as compared to like all of other videos. The dual key will always tell you, say, very hard to move on.
And frankly speaking, central area, you don't have EC lah. I mean, you only have EC in marina area. So why we explain to you this, right, is we want to let you know that actually you don't have to be afraid of dual key.
You just have to be in the right area, the right price.
Correct. So now let's look at the case study. Okay, so again, right now we will be comparing the 904, which is this is OMG, okay, by the way. So 904 smallest unit type versus the dual key, which is the 969 square feet. Looking at whatever that I mentioned to you, the starting PSF is about 2710. We use a very conservative amount of 2,900, right? You will get for 904 square feet unit at 2.621.
Yeah.
And the dual key unit, you will get around 2.81. Okay, you can see that the difference is not so big as compared to the La Fiesta that we shared earlier, 500 over 1,000. But you can see that for a rental average, right, let's just look at the normal 3-bedder at 7,200. Okay, and we work out a rental yield is actually around 3.29. But for our rental, which we took the very, very low minimal kind of very conservative 9,100 plus, right, we'll be looking at 3.89%. So from this calculation, we can already tell that the 3-bedder dual key, right, has a significant higher rental yield. So actually dual key is not so scary one. It really depends on the location.
So for CBD area and the marina area, the rental yield since is very, very important and the purchase price is not so much of a difference. And dual key will actually make more sense.
Correct. And you see this 3-bedder we use 7,200, but actually in fact this whole area, the 3-bedder, right, actually you can fetch more rental one. Meaning to say for the 2-bedder plus the 1-bedder kind of rental, right, actually is definitely also higher than 9,100. So we are looking based on a very, very low rental for calculation.
So we actually go into our 3-bedder top choice. Actually, for just now I mentioned, right, the dual key actually makes more sense in this area for investment, right?
First choice.
Or this 904 okay.
Second.
Yeah, so but actually we prefer the dual key because this really, really makes more sense in this area. However, for own stay, right, we actually recommend the 1,283 square feet. That one has the Gardens by the Bay view, right?
Yes.
I think this is more for comfort. I mean, this is the 3-bedder is the only one that will go into the top choice because of this reason. The own stay factor and the rental yield factor.
Correct.
Right. And the last we will go into 4-bedroom
analysis.
4-bedroom, very simple, only got one layout, right? Only 40 units, and it's also the Gardens by the Bay view.
Correct.
But however, just to take note, only the living room, the junior master, and the master room will get the Gardens by the Bay view.
Yes. But this one you also get view just not the Gardens by the Bay view.
Other development view.
Correct,
for now, it's just an empty plot. But we will be seeing some things in the future Okay.
In terms of size, 1647, like just now we keep mentioning the right price, right size, right yield. We'll come to that.
Yeah.
Okay, so over here you can see that the view itself, this is basically from the master bedroom. Very, very fantastic. You'll be looking at MBS, Gardens by the Bay. Okay, so we also can see that, right? Okay, in terms of what is one highlight about 4-bedder is actually really about the size. Because we are actually at 1,647. But you realize, right, for Marina 1,
it's actually 2,000 over square feet. That's super large.
Correct. That's why you see some of their prices for 4-bedder already beyond $6 million.
I mean, because of the size, the quantum will be naturally larger.
Correct. Right? That goes back to what? Right size.
Okay.
Right? So we are right size. Actually, the size that is very similar to us is actually the sale.
Yeah.
Currently for the sale is already 17 years old.
Yeah.
The sale price itself is still about $3.8 million. Actually, ours starting from is actually 4.45, brand new.
Yeah.
So I think that position our 4-bedder very, very attractively.
And by the time that OMG actually TOPs, right, the sale will be probably around 20 years old already. So if let's say new and resale, the price is actually not too much of a difference. I think it's kind of also a no-brainer.
Yeah. So actually like what you say, 4-bedder is more for own stay. Yeah. So people want this kind of view and things like that, and I think it's very attractive price for 4-bedder to come in, because if you want to buy a 4-bedder there, everything else, like for example, is 6 over million, and finally you see one thing that is new,
more affordable, right?
And it's more affordable. I think that would be attractive.
Yeah.
Correct. So we've come to the end, which is the conclusion point.
Yeah. So our conclusion here is very different from all of our other analysis because number one, we keep repeating this, that the key focus in this marina area is the rental yield. So the yield I think generally to speak, right, for most of the beta types, 4% very safe.
4.1, 4.2, that's very good actually.
Yeah. You also have to make sure that your future buyers have enjoy this kind of yield for them to take over your unit, right?
Correct.
So when you buy it at a lower price, maybe now when you buy it's actually at a 5% rental yield. Next time when you actually increase your purchase price, the rental yield drops to slightly maybe 4.5. People will still be able to accept. And number 2, we also have to know how to shortlist units based on our developers' pricing strategy.
Correct.
So this one I think we have probably gone through in other videos
Chong
before.
Park,
So you can actually refer to the other videos if let's say you haven't seen them in details before, but we'll actually run through a
quick
brief one. So how do we actually shortlist units based on the developer's pricing strategy? So this developer is Kingsford, right? So for the last Chuan Park, right, what they actually did is that they actually had a price increment from level 2 to level 3, right? So to actually quote a very attractive starting price, so this is one of their marketing tactics. So this is something that we do have to prepare that this might happen again with Kingsford, right? So of course the second strategy that developers actually utilize is that the normal per floor jump. I think this is the normal one, right?
Correct.
But Kingsford actually, they have a history of not loading per floor jump. Normal developer will actually load a lot. For the lower to higher floor, the difference is like 300,000. But for Kingsford, they don't have this practice.
Correct.
Right? So in this case, lower floor or higher floor better?
Higher floor
better, right?
So it usually is the less than 1%.
Less than 1%.
So if it's less than 1% per floor jump, then
rather go for the higher floor.
rather go for the higher floor. And the last one
is the better facing premium. So with Normanton Park, we actually realized that Kingsford actually load on the premium facing, they load on the Kent Ridge facing. So for this one, we have the Gardens by the Bay facing. So we also have to take note that if let's say developer has like a 5% premium on the Gardens by the Bay facing,
still can go.
Less than 5 will be a steal.
Oh yes, correct. Anything beyond 5, you can reconsider.
You can reconsider again.
Yeah, but then again, having said that, Gardens by the Bay view is a very different. Like, it's a view that I think is 1 in a million. So if really, like some people tell me, by that area, I need to have that view, then you don't need to care about this kind of strategy.
I mean, it's a tourist attraction. It's not like they're going to tear this down and then do something else or like make it a residential in the next, I don't know how long. So it's kind of a permanent view because it's a tourist attraction. So I think even if it's more than 5% and you really insist that this is something that you really, really want for own stay, then I think why not?
Just go ahead.
But you're talking about numbers more sensitive to rental yield numbers, then if the premium is more than 5%, then maybe go for the non-premium facing.
Yes. So we've come to the end of our analysis video. Again, like what I said, the preview date is actually on the 29th of March, which is next Saturday. 1 beta type all the way to 4 beta. Unfortunately, in this video that is 1 hour long, we are not able to share with you everything, about transformation and and things like that. So if you want to know, join us during the preview time, and we'll be able to show you everything that is going on or coming in this area itself.
I think what's most important is also that if let's say you decide to actually participate in this OMG, you have a very good ballot number, but you don't know how to choose.
Oh yes.
Because there's so many 1 bedroom, so many 2 bedrooms, right? Especially when that's the bulk of the percentage of this project.
Correct.
Please reach out to us. We'll actually guide you through this whole process. If let's say you don't have a very good ballot number, what are your other alternatives in the upcoming launches as well?
Alright.
Okay, so this is my Telegram channel. You can actually once again scan this QR code. We will actually give you updates on the pricing, previews and what. And we'll actually see you in the next video. Which is, I'm not sure is what, but we'll see you in the next video.
I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Bye.